Welcome to Deadscape Diaries, where the roads are long, the night is endless, and some things were never meant to be seen. I'm your host, and tonight we take you deep into the heart of darkness, kind of darkness you find out there on the open road. Truckers know it best. They've seen things that shouldn't exist, but they're out there watching, waiting. And tonight, I'll share with you 3 of the most terrifying encounters told by the truckers who lived to tell the tale. Stories of the Black Dog, the one that haunts Dead Man's Curve in Iowa, that follows you down Route 49 in California, and that relentless beast chasing you on Highway 55 in Missouri. If you've been out there long enough, you've probably seen it. But no matter how fast you drive, no matter how far you go, it always follows. It always catches up. So buckle up. Keep your eyes on the road, because on Deadscape Diaries, the only thing darker than the highway ahead is what's lurking in the shadows, waiting for you to look away. This is Deadscape Diaries. And the road you're on is never as empty as it seems. Story 1. I've been a trucker for over 15 years, driving through the longest, most desolate stretches of road in this country. But there's one place, one stretch of highway, that I'll never forget: Dead Man's Curve, just outside of Des Moines. It's a sharp turn, one of those places where you need to slow down or risk flipping the truck. I'd heard the stories about that road, about the Black Dog. People say it appears out of nowhere, a massive, shadowy creature with glowing eyes. I didn't believe in it at first. I figured it was just some ghost story people told to scare drivers. But after that night, I'm not so sure. It was late, well past midnight. The only company I had was the hum of the engine and the occasional flicker of my headlights cutting through the darkness. I was about to hit Dead Man's Curve, and the road was slick from an earlier rain. I slowed down, gripping the wheel tight, trying to focus through the fatigue. That's when I saw it off to the side of the road, a pair of glowing eyes watching me. I thought it was a deer at first, but as I got closer, I saw the figure huge, black as night, with a heavy, muscled build. Its fur was matted, and its eyes, those icy, were red, almost like the reflection of taillights in a mirror, but they were staring at me, unblinking, unafraid. I hit the brakes, heart in my throat. But as I came closer, the dog didn't move. It just stood there, staring me down. I wasn't sure if I should slow down even more or floor it and get the hell out of there. But as I neared the curve, something clicked in my head. I knew I had to get past it. When I turned the wheel to make the curve, I glanced in the mirror. That's when I saw it again in the road now. It was running, but its movements were too quick, too smooth. It was right behind me, and I could hear its paws hitting the ground like thunder in the silence of the night. I floored the gas, my truck roaring as I pushed through the turn. But when I glanced back in the rearview mirror, the dog was gone. No sign of it. It hadn't even left a trace in the wet dirt. I didn't stop for another 100 miles. Every time I passed another trucker, I'd hear the same stories. Did you see the Black Dog? They'd ask. I don't know what it was, whether it was real or just some trick of the mind. But I know one thing: Dead Man's Curve isn't just a dangerous bend in the road. There's something else out there, waiting. Story 2. I've seen a lot of strange things on the road, creepy hitchhikers. Strange lights in the sky, the occasional animal that shouldn't be there. But nothing comes close to the time I encountered the black dog on Route 49. I was hauling a load down through Northern California. The night air thick and cool. The only sound the soft hum of the engine and the occasional click of the turn signal. The road was too quiet, and I had been driving for hours with no one else in sight. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows over the road. I was coming around a bend when I saw it. At first, I thought it was just a shadow or maybe a trick of the light. But then I saw it again, a massive, black shape moving quickly through the trees at the edge of the road. My heart skipped a beat. Whatever it was huge. Too big to be just a regular dog. I slowed down, my eyes fixed on the movement. And that's when it stepped out of the woods. It was like something out of a nightmare, huge, jet black dog. Bigger than any dog I'd ever seen. Its fur seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. But what really caught my attention were its eyes, red, blood red. They glowed with an eerie light, and when it looked at me, I swear I felt the weight of its gaze press against my chest, squeezing the air out of my lungs. The dog didn't move toward me, but it didn't back off either. It just stood there, staring me down like it was waiting for something. I couldn't bring myself to drive past it. I don't know why. Maybe it was the sense that something terrible would happen if I did. So I stopped. I sat there in the cab, my hands gripping the wheel, my breath shallow. The dog didn't bark. It didn't growl. It didn't even move except for its eyes, which stayed fixed on mine, unblinking. I don't know how long I sat there, but I finally snapped out of it. I put the truck in gear, and without another glance, I drove past it. But when I looked in the rearview mirror, it wasn't standing there anymore. It was running faster than I could even fathom, and it was coming after me. I hit the gas. My truck roared to life, and I pushed the pedal to the floor, racing down that empty highway as fast as I could. When I dared to glance back, the dog was nowhere to be seen, but I could feel it, like it was still chasing me, still watching me, waiting for me to make one wrong move. I haven't taken Route 49 at night since, and when I meet other drivers on the road, I hear them speak in hushed tones, talking about the black dog. They all know, and no one who has seen it has ever forgotten it. Story 3. You've been on the road long enough to know when something's off. You get a feeling in your gut, a certain tension in the air that tells you when to pull over, when to slow down, when to keep your eyes wide open. But even with all my years of experience, there was no preparing me for the black dog that followed me on Highway 55. It was late past 2 a.m., and I was driving down a lonely stretch of highway in southern Missouri. I was exhausted, barely keeping my eyes open, when I spotted the first sign of trouble. The road ahead seemed too dark, darker than it should have been, even for that time of night. The trees along the side of the highway stood in thick shadows, and the air felt heavy, like a storm was about to hit. Even though the skies were clear, that's when I saw it, a flash of movement in the headlights. A dog, or at least I thought it was. It darted across the road so fast, I almost missed it, but there was something about it that made my blood run cold. The thing was massive, far too big for any normal dog. And as I passed the spot, I swear I felt its eyes on me, watching me from the darkness. I wasn't sure if I was just tired or if I'd imagined it. But then I saw it again, this time standing in the middle of the road. I hit the brakes, the truck screeching as I slowed down. But the dog didn't move. It just stood there, right in front of me, staring. Its fur was coal black, shining like oil in the headlights, and its eyes glowed like twin embers in the dark. It wasn't like any dog I'd ever seen. The way it stood, unmoving, unnaturally still, it wasn't right. I tried to go around it, to drive past it, but as I turned the wheel, I noticed something horrifying. It was not just standing there. Its body was changing, its size expanding, its form shifting in the blink of an eye. It was growing. I slammed the gas pedal to the floor, nearly losing control of the truck. And when I glanced back in the mirror, I saw it running after me. It was gaining on me, its shape now more like a wolf than a dog, its eyes burning with an unnatural light. I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever it wasn't just a creature of the night. It was something much worse. I did not stop until I reached the next truck stop, my hands shaking as I parked. The rest stop attendant looked at me like I was crazy when I told him about the black dog, but when I mentioned Highway 55, his expression changed. "You're not the first to see it," he said, voice low. "It's been spotted for years, but no one talks about it. I have never driven down Highway 55 at night again, and I don't think I ever will. And when I meet other truckers, I always listen closely for whispers of the black dog, because once you've seen it, you know there's no turning back." And that's all for tonight's journey down the dark roads of the unknown. If you've made it this far, you've survived, but remember, what you've heard tonight, it doesn't just stay on the road. It follows you. If you ever find yourself on the road late at night, and you feel that weight in the air, that cold chill running down your spine, just know the black dog is never too far away. Until next time, keep your eyes on the road and never stop listening. This is Deadscape Diaries. The dark roads are always waiting.